Hey guys, welcome back to another Virgo Girl recommendation, and today's recommendation is Matilda. I'm excited to talk about this movie because one, is old, and two, is hilarious. So, as I kind of mentioned when I did the My Pretty Woman recommendation, I'm going to start back to doing some of the older movies that I have enjoyed throughout my life, which is kind of like how I started doing my channel initially. But then a lot of good series and TV shows and um, series, TV shows, same thing basically. But movies, series, etc. started like coming out that were more modern and like happening in the like in current time. And I ended up like talking about those, which I plan to continue to do. However, I still want to touch on my oldies but goodies. So this is one of them. It's called Matilda. It's hilarious. It's about this little girl who is super smart, and she has parents who are the opposite. They are just, I mean, if you want an example of how not to be a parent, it's these guys. They were so inappropriate. They just did everything that to just make you cringe about, you know, ab- about parenthood, basically, about a bad parent. Just, everything that you can do to be a bad parent, they ace that. So, anyway, basically, in this movie, the little girl, she is almost like the perfect little girl, if you will. She does what she's supposed to do, and it's like she's still the black sheep of the family, whereas the other, people in the family are not doing anything they're supposed to be doing, and they're seemingly being praised for it, or they show them in a light that it just seems like that part of the family gets along better and they're more accepted and things like that. So my reasoning for recommending this is because I was thinking back to just how different the times are now. This movie, I feel like if this movie came out in 2024, I feel like there would be so many people with so many opinions, so many think pieces, to where you wouldn't even really be able to enjoy the movie because there would be so many people trying to cancel different people for, doing the movie the way it was done, for the portrayal of the parents, for the portrayal of the way of the child. I feel like it would be so much energy put into the movie that it wouldn't have gotten the reception that it got during the time that it came out. So I'm glad it came out in the 90s because, as you know, a lot of things that came out in the 90s would not fly in 2024. Let me just add the 80s and before as well. So most things that came out the 90s and before definitely would not fly in 2024 because we're living in a different time where people like to do research on certain things and they like to display it, they like to cancel people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So some of the themes and some of the subject matter that didn't bother us at all in the 90s would be very offensive, would not fly, and just wouldn't do as well in this day and age. However, what I've noticed is a lot of the times when the things are already out, like if it's, something that already came out in the past, people are a little bit more lenient as opposed to if it's something that comes out like right now in 2024, if you will. So it seems like people are more willing to say, oh, that was back then kind of thing with some things, with some things. And I think that this movie is one of them. I feel that this movie is still looked at as funny. I still can still look at as a classic. And I absolutely love it. So you have this little girl who, like I said, she does everything she's supposed to do. She's brilliant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she has these parents who are awful. And then on top of having awful parents, she also has a teacher who is just as bad, if not worse, than the parents. So she's dealing with it at home and when she goes to school. And it's just, man, just watching it. And let me just clarify, if you haven't seen this, this is not like something that's like a sad movie or anything like that. It's like comedy all the way through it. So even though this little girl is going through all this, she gets her lick back. And, she ends up being able to do things to bring to light, like just, their indiscretions and things like that. However, just in watching it, just all the things that happen, it's so like far off from the way things should be going, like when you go to school or when you're home with your parents. It's just hilarious, hilarious things. Like, I'll give you an example. So there was this one part where they were all sitting down. They're in the living room, and they're watching TV. And they all have their like TV trays. They have like dinner on the TV tray, and they're all. I can't remember if they were watching like a 3D movie or what they were watching, but they were all watching TV. But while they're sitting there watching TV and eating their food, which like in most households, people are like, okay, this is family time. Put your phone away. We're going to, sit down as a unit and, kind of bond together and go over the day, et cetera, et cetera. It's more like you don't want the kids to have their phones or, TV going and all that. Well, in this family, they were upset with Matilda because she didn't want to watch TV. She literally brought a book while they were sitting there watching TV. Now, she was minding her business, just reading her book, but the family was irritated that she had the audacity to read a book while they were watching a movie. Like, why wouldn't you want to watch a movie instead of reading a book? Are you just crazy? And they just literally like just put her down for reading instead of watching TV. So this is just an example of how this family was towards this little girl. But the way, okay, now for me, just saying it like that, it sounds like it's like, oh my God, this is what kind of movie, it's sad, it's horrible. And because of the way it's written, they add so much comedy to it until you find yourself laughing at this ridiculous behavior. And trust me, it all works out for the greater good, in the end. But it's like, it's just funny, just basically how backwards this family is. And then you have this little girl who's dealing with this, and then you have her going to school, and then she has a teacher who is on the same line as her parents and doing stupid stuff as well, and just being like, of course, she doesn't qualify to be a teacher at all. Well, actually, I take that back. It wasn't the teacher. I'm saying teacher because they were at school, but it was actually the principal who was like horrible. The principal, Trenchball is what they called her, the principal. But yeah, the principal was the one who was horrible at the school and caused the kids all kinds of grief and just was terrible. The movie is so funny, guys. You're gonna love it. It's such a great, great, great movie. Check it out. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the people that are in the movie, so it'll give you an idea of just how funny it is if you haven't already watched it. We got Danny DeVito, Renee Perlman, which they're married if I'm not mistaken, but they're, oh my gosh, they're so hilarious. And then Mara Wilson, she's the one who played Matilda. And the list just goes on and on, guys. It's such a funny, funny, funny movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it so much, and I think you will too. I wanted to give you guys something a little light, something that you can kind of watch and laugh and just relax, enjoy. Sometimes when you've had a long day, you want to just watch something kind of light and funny, and I do feel that this is a great movie for that. It is. Let's see, how long is Matilda? I think it was about. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's about an hour and a half, so which is not, super long or anything. So yeah, it is a great watch. Once again, it's called Matilda, and I'm not sure if it is. Where is it showing? I haven't really seen it anywhere. They're saying that it's on Amazon Prime and Apple, but everything that I see where it is, it's showing that you have to pay for it. It may be on Netflix. I'm seeing here that it could be on Netflix. I think it may, yeah, you guys can check your Netflix. If you have Netflix, I think it's on there. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up now. I didn't have a whole lot to add to this one. It's just like a really cute, hilarious movie. It's really like a classic. And it's just super funny. Check it out. Once again, it's called Matilda. And until next time, guys, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Peace.